Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we're journeying to one of the most hostile environments on our planet, the vast, frozen heart of the Arctic. When you picture Arctic sea ice, you probably imagine a static, lifeless world, a realm of suspended animation where life clings on, waiting for the brief reprieve of spring. For decades, that's largely what scientists believed too. But a recent, groundbreaking discovery has completely shattered this frozen image, revealing a hidden world of bustling, frenetic activity orchestrated by some of the planet's most important and resilient microorganisms. Deep within the crystalline structures of the ice, tiny algae are not just surviving, they are thriving, gliding through microscopic channels at temperatures that would freeze most life solid. This is the story of the Arctic's secret ice skaters, the diatoms, and how their surprising mobility is rewriting our understanding of life in the extreme and the future of the entire Arctic ecosystem. To truly grasp the magnitude of this discovery, we first need to appreciate the world of extremophiles. These are the daredevils of the biological world, organisms that flourish in conditions we would consider utterly lethal. Think of the crushing pressure in the Mariana Trench, the scorching heat of deep-sea hydrothermal vents, or the acid bath conditions of volcanic springs. Extremophiles have conquered them all, pushing our definition of where life can exist. Their existence is what gives astrobiologists hope for finding life on the moons of Jupiter or the arid plains of Mars. And the Arctic, with its months-long polar night, sub-zero temperatures, and pockets of water saltier than the Dead Sea, is a premier showcase for these masters of survival. The organisms here are called psychrophiles, meaning cold-loving. They've evolved incredible adaptations, like specialized enzymes that work like molecular antifreeze and cell membranes that remain fluid and flexible, instead of shattering like glass in the cold. It is in this theater of extreme adaptation that our main character, the diatom, takes center stage. Diatoms are, quite simply, one of the most important life forms on Earth. These single-celled algae are a type of phytoplankton, and they are encased in intricate, beautiful cell walls made of silica, essentially glass. These shells, called frustules, are so ornate and geometrically perfect that diatoms are often called the jewels of the sea, but their beauty is matched by their biological might. It's estimated that diatoms are responsible for producing at least 20% of the oxygen we breathe. Let that sink in. Every fifth breath you take, you can thank a diatom. Their combined contribution to global oxygen production is equivalent to all the planet's rainforests. In the Arctic, their importance is even more concentrated. They are the bedrock of the entire ecosystem. Within the sea ice, they can account for over half, sometimes up to 75%, of all single-celled life. When the sun finally returns to the Arctic in spring, after months of darkness, it triggers a massive bloom of these diatoms on the underside of the sea ice, turning it a vibrant green. This bloom is the dinner bell for the entire region. It's the primary food source that fuels a food web supporting everything from tiny crustaceans and fish to seals, walruses, seabirds, and even majestic polar bears and whales. Studies have found traces of these ice algae in 96% of the 155 Arctic species analyzed. They are, without exaggeration, the engine of the Arctic. For decades, the scientific consensus was that these vital diatoms were passive players. The story went that they became trapped in the ice as it formed in the autumn, entering a dormant, cryopreserved state. They were seen as little more than specks of dirt in ice cores, patiently waiting for the spring melt to release them back into the ocean. This assumption seemed logical. After all, how could anything be active in a solid block of ice? This long-held belief was shattered in 2023. A team of researchers from Stanford University, led by bioengineer Manu Prakash, embarked on a 45-day expedition in the Chukchi Sea aboard the research vessel Sekuliak. Instead of just noting the presence of diatoms, they decided to look closer, much closer. They brought with them custom-built sub-zero temperature microscopes, some of which they had to construct from scratch right there on the ship, to observe the diatoms in their natural frozen habitat. What they saw was, in their words, astonishing. The diatoms weren't dormant at all. They were alive and kicking. In fact, they were gliding through the intricate network of channels within the ice, moving with purpose and speed. Prakash expressed his complete surprise, stating, "This is not 1980s movie cryobiology. The diatoms are as active as we can imagine until temperatures drop all the way down to -15 degrees Celsius, which is a frigid 5 degrees Fahrenheit. This observation marked the lowest temperature at which gliding motility has ever been recorded for a eukaryotic cell, the complex cell type that makes up all animals, plants, and fungi, including us." Published in the prestigious journal, Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, this discovery single-handedly provides a new, dynamic perspective on how life can thrive at its absolute limits. So how do they do it? How does a microscopic, single-celled organism skate through ice? Diatoms don't have tails or fins like other swimming microbes. They use a unique and fascinating form of gliding. The mechanism relies on the secretion of a mucus-like substance, a polymer that acts, in the words of lead author Qing Zhang, like a rope with an anchor. The diatom secretes this sticky polymer, which adheres to the ice surface, and then it essentially pulls itself along. This rope-pulling system is powered by a molecular engine made of actin and myosin, the very same proteins that cause our own muscles to contract. This machinery operates through a specialized slit in the diatom's glass shell, known as the raphe. It's through this raphe that the diatom secretes its rope and engages the motor to pull itself forward. What makes this feat truly remarkable is their adaptation to the cold. The researchers compared the Arctic diatoms to their cousins from more temperate, warmer waters. When placed in the same cold conditions, the temperate diatoms simply gave up. Their motility shut down, and they became passive, just as scientists had always assumed. But the Arctic diatoms were in their element. They not only retained their ability to move on icy surfaces, but they moved with surprising speed. Under the same cold conditions, the ice diatoms zipped along roughly 10 times faster than the temperate diatoms. This isn't just a general ability. It's a specific, powerful evolutionary adaptation to a life lived in the cold. Thermohydrodynamic models revealed their secrets. They've evolved to increase their internal energy efficiency, getting more bang for their metabolic buck. And critically, they've optimized the properties of their secreted mucilage. They've fine-tuned its chemistry to reduce its sensitivity to temperature, ensuring its viscosity, its stickiness and texture remains perfectly functional in the extreme cold, preventing it from becoming too thick or freezing. To understand where these diatoms are moving, you have to understand the strange architecture of sea ice. It's not a solid, uniform block like an ice cube from your freezer. As seawater freezes, it can't incorporate the salt into its crystal structure. So it expels the salt, which creates a complex, interconnected network of channels and pockets filled with a highly saline liquid called brine. This brine can be several times saltier than regular seawater and remains liquid at temperatures far below the normal freezing point. This network of brine channels is a microscopic world of highways and canals within the ice, and it is the habitat for an entire community of sea ice organisms. For the diatoms living inside this frozen labyrinth, motility isn't just a neat party trick, it's a critical survival strategy. Their world is defined by a steep vertical gradient. Light, which they need for photosynthesis, filters down from the surface of the ice above. Nutrients, which they also need to live, are more abundant in the seawater below the ice. The ability to move allows them to navigate this intricate network to find the Goldilocks zone, that perfect layer within the ice where they can get just enough light from above and just enough nutrients from below. Scientists had known since the 1960s that microbes seem to be concentrated in specific layers of the ice, which suggested some kind of active navigation, but they didn't know how. The discovery of active gliding provides the missing mechanism. These diatoms aren't just stuck where they freeze. They are actively migrating, responding to environmental cues to find the best possible real estate for growth. This newfound mobility has profound ecological implications. Since diatoms are the base of the Arctic food chain, their behavior has a cascading effect on the entire ecosystem. The fact that they are actively positioning themselves for optimal growth means they are likely far more productive than we ever gave them credit for. They're not just waiting for spring. They're actively photosynthesizing and growing throughout their time in the ice, providing a more consistent food source. Their movement within the brine channels might also be essential for nutrient cycling. As they move, they could be stirring up and distributing scarce resources, effectively fertilizing their own icy garden and sustaining the broader microbial community. As Manu Prakash notes, this is a significant portion of the food chain and controls what's happening under ice. The abundance of these diatoms is so immense that their chlorophyll can literally turn the entire underside of the sea ice a deep, rich green, but their influence doesn't stop there. The very same extracellular polymeric substances, or EPS, that they secrete to glide also have a broader impact. This slime can alter the physical properties of the brine channels themselves and even influence the process of ice crystallization. This reveals a fascinating feedback loop where the diatoms not only adapt to their icy home, but actively shape and engineer it. The timing of this discovery is critical because the Arctic is changing at an alarming rate. It's warming faster than any other region on Earth, leading to a dramatic decline in both the extent and the thickness of the sea ice. This rapid environmental shift poses an existential threat to the organisms that have evolved over millennia to depend on it. On one hand, thinner ice allows more light to penetrate, which could, in theory, benefit photosynthetic diatoms. Some studies show that they respond to increased light by producing more lipids and fatty acids, making them a richer, more nutritious food source. But this is a double-edged sword. Too much light can cause damage, a phenomenon called photoinhibition. More importantly, the complete loss of summer sea ice, which some climate models project could happen within the next few decades, would mean the total annihilation of this unique brine channel habitat. It would be like destroying every rainforest on Earth for the organisms that live there. These highly specialized diatoms, with their incredible adaptations for gliding through ice, would be challenged to find a new way to survive in a completely open ocean. Understanding their remarkable abilities is therefore crucial for predicting how they, and the entire Arctic ecosystem that depends on them, will respond to the profound changes that are already underway. As Manu Prakash soberly reminds us, when ecosystems are lost, we lose knowledge about entire branches in our tree of life. The discovery of mobile, active diatoms skating through the veins of Arctic sea ice is a powerful testament to the ingenuity and resilience of life. It challenges our preconceived notions of what is possible in extreme environments and pulls back the curtain on a hidden layer of complexity in the Arctic. These microscopic ice skaters are not passive victims of their environment, but active agents, shaping their world and driving the productivity of one of the planet's most unique and vulnerable biomes. This research opens up a whole new field of inquiry. Scientists are now eager to explore how this gliding ability changes under different chemical conditions, and to further unravel the precise molecular mechanics that power this cold-adapted motor. The story of the Arctic diatoms is a compelling narrative of survival against the odds, a story that is still unfolding. And it serves as a crucial reminder of how much we still have to learn about our own planet, and why we must continue to explore and protect these remote, seemingly desolate environments, which are, in reality, teeming with life and wonder.